my freedom back then, my freedom to pursue my passion, it had an expiry date. The expiry date came when I could no longer pay my bills. That was the epiphany that I had.
But was there a point that you suddenly had that realization that, oh, like I'm really living my dream? Like, was there like a point?
Yes, actually. Yes, I did reach that
Peak.
epitome. I don't know if that's the right word. That state. Definitely a few times. Because I remember one day after I stepped off the stage performing for about 10,000 people in Vegas, I felt like I would never trade my place with anybody else in that convention. So there was 10,000 people in the audience. They watched me do a 5-minute act, right? And I felt like I was living my ikigai. So that's a concept that I really live by, ikigai, right? It's just Japanese concept which defines your purpose for being. Yeah, so I felt like, wow, I'm really living my dream, my purpose. And when I stepped off that stage, I mentally told myself, I will not trade my place with anybody else in this 10,000 audience.
Like you feel like you've reached like the top of the world.
I felt good. I felt fulfilled. I felt satisfied with what I was doing. Yeah.
I guess it's quite relatable for both of us, right? Have you ever felt that way when you were like performing?
For large crowd, like external performances, yes, I do feel it. And honestly speaking, I do enjoy the cheering.
Yes.
Like I do enjoy it when people are amazed by what you put up on the stage. Like whenever they see you, they will go like, wow, you can do this, like all the kind of stunts. So actually, now that you mentioned how you actually gone through this, I would assume that it's like a emotional roller coaster. You hit rock bottom, and then you also experience the highest point throughout this whole entire journey. The passion, I believe, is still within you, right? Considering how you are still doing like side hustle for these, some gigs on and off.
Yeah, well, now these days I perform recreationally, right? I don't need the income from the gig. I just do it because I still kind of have a passion for it, and I still love and enjoy the process, right? But would I, go back to do it full time? Quite likely no. Quite likely no. So earlier I mentioned to you that I need to generate 5,000 a month, and then I can be free, right? Financially free. I can do whatever I want. So I'm already there, right? But would I actually go back to my previous lifestyle of being an artist? No longer, because my priorities have changed and my lifestyle have changed. Right, so I'm married. I've got a kid coming on the way, and I've got a house. My mortgage inspires me. Yeah, and there's a car installment. So I mean, you take on certain responsibilities along the way, and your goals and your values change in different life stages.
So I would assume that there won't be. It's very unlikely that you will actually maybe coach this form of art as a side hustle.
I'm not really interested in becoming a trainer or a teacher. I was more passionate about being the performer. So becoming a teacher is not a route that I was considering from day one.
Okay.
But usually for like this kind of arts, like the progression is usually either like you become a performer or you become a teacher, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So yes, after they retire, the artist may become a coach or run a studio, and then become a director or choreographer. Right? But that didn't really interest me lah. I just wanted to be the artist.
I see. But when you were like doing this dream, like, did you ever feel like you were burnt out? Because it was something that you really love to do, right? But doing it every single day, and like because of all these other challenges that you had, do you not feel like, oh my god, like now I think I don't really like it as much anymore? I think that's kind of like the fear that some of us have. Like at least I have as well. Like if I really pursue this as something full time, right, then I'll eventually come to hate it. Have you ever had that moment before?
Well, I would say when you start having the pressure for you to generate income, it does get to you. You now you are dependent on this working out for you to sustain yourself financially, right? and you put yourself out there and you market yourself to get opportunities, and when it doesn't come the way you want it, definitely it can be quite demoralizing. Because you are spending so much effort and time and energy in developing your craft, and yet you don't get the opportunities that you're fighting for. And especially if you're in a financially tight situation, it will get to you.
Then what was the thing that kept you motivated for that 2 years?
I think I didn't run out of money yet. So it's
still
very
sustaining
clear.
yourself.
So my freedom back then, my freedom to pursue my passion, it had an expiry date. The expiry date came when I could no longer pay my bills. Right? That was the epiphany that I had. Let's say I have $10,000 in my bank, and if I spend $2,000 a month, in 5 months' time, I'll run out. Right? Assuming that I don't get new gigs. So once the expiry date came, I would have to come to terms with it and then find another role, another gig, another job. Right? So that was the state I was in, which is what inspired me to find a new arrangement where, if let's say I have a condo, I own a condo, let's say hypothetically, and the condo, I could rent it out. Every month I can get $5,000 of rental income without me doing any active work. Right? Then every month, all my basic needs are covered. My food is covered, my clothes, my all my basic lifestyle needs, transport, everything. So then I will feel free. Then I can take whatever risk I want. I can do whatever risky thing or passionate things that I want, and live my life freely, because I don't have to worry about that every month my lifestyle cash flow needs. So before I realized my freedom had an expiry date. So I went from that to hey, how can I create a structure so that my freedom is not tied to me having a profitable outcome from pursuing the arts. Does that make sense?
I guess that's why it's very difficult to do arts here in Singapore, because we, first of all, very limited opportunities, and living expenses here are relatively high. So with the lack of opportunities, it's very difficult. Even if you pack your schedule quite fully, I think it's very difficult to reach a comfortable amount for you to live your daily lives.
Or there should be at least some other opportunities to kind of supplement whatever that you're currently making, right?
Definitely.
So I'll give you an example. In other countries or other cities, they have a culture of going to see live shows. Right? Every month or every week, there will be a new production in town, and you go and watch this show. Right, whether it's an acrobatic show or a ballet show. But in Singapore, that's not really our culture. Right? We don't go and see shows live as often. And most of the shows that are available in town are mostly imported. Right? So at MBS, you may have a tour from company X, company Y, international tours from abroad. So most of this is already packaged and already ready. It has had success elsewhere, and then it comes to Singapore, and then it does a 2-week stop. Right? So we go and watch the show. So so the culture is very different. Right? While let's say in the US, every festive season or every event, there will be some kind of show. Or if you have a big party or opening ceremony of something, or a gala dinner, there will be a show, right? And there will be artists and performers. So that provides more opportunities, and there's a bit more of an ecosystem for you to make a living as an artist.
How are the audiences here in Singapore compared to other countries? Because I know for local audiences, it's either I'm there to support you as a friend, or I'm aware of this group of performers, I'm a fan of them. If not, normally I think Singaporeans won't just go and say, oh, there's a new show coming up, I think I will go and watch.
In my specific practice of aerial acrobatics, I would say the audience here is quite easy to impress. Because not many of them have seen this live. So any tricks or any cool things you do, they would be mind blown, so more easily mind blown. But the awareness, so you see, when it comes to the marketing of the shows, it's not done at a very large scale. Mostly is through your social network, word of mouth, and you sharing on social media and such. So generally, I would say, the most of the people that come and watch your show maybe from your friend circles and then family and so on. Yeah.
So you still kind of need to have that personal branding, I guess, to bring all the audiences in.
Yeah, but I don't stress so much about that because you see, now I just do it for fun. I don't need to pursue this as a profession. Yeah.
So now that you are like back to the corporate job, right? Like how was the transition like for you? Because is there like a point where like you didn't do this performing arts for like a while and then you like really missed it?
Yeah, actually, for the first 6 months, I was probably depressed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was. I didn't get a clinical assessment, but I was probably depressed for the first 6 months because you lose your sense of identity and you suddenly feel obsolete in this new society. Right after I came back to Singapore, I don't feel like I was valuable. So that transformation was definitely very rough. Yeah, and even after you join the new industry, in your first year, you're not really gonna be at the top of your game. You're still learning. You're a rookie, right? So you'll be going through a lot of new learning curves, and you can't expect to have outstanding results from day one, right? So yeah, actually, I struggled quite a bit in my career in the first 6 months, and actually I was earning less. I was making less than 1,000 a month because in my role we are purely commission, right? As a financial advisor, so if you don't bring in the business, you eat grass. Really. So we don't have a salary, right? And it really depends on how much business you are able to bring in, right? So my first 6 months, my average income was less than 1,000 a month.
What?
Yeah.
Then how do you deal with it?
So I had to rely on my mom again to tide me over. Yeah. So so in the first organization, things were not really working out for me, right? So after 6 months, I made a decisive choice that, okay, I need to go, I need to leave, right? And I made a jump. I took a leap of faith and I went to another organization where I found there was a better fit and a more supportive environment that could help me to grow. That's when I hit my first top of the table. Yeah.
He's a risk taker.
Yeah.
Like he's switching job during COVID lockdown.
That's actually quite amazing. No, because like, I mean, especially when you have been doing this like field for so long, like what you mentioned, like your identity is already rooted inside. Then like now you're really taking a leap of faith to go into a totally new job where I guess you didn't have any experience in it, right?
Yeah, no. Besides my education, I didn't have any real world experience in finance. Yeah, so that was my first.
Oh, then how? Like when did you start to kind of like want to go back to performing arts? Like, cause now you mentioned that you are doing this as a side hustle, like as side gigs here and there. Like, when was the time that okay, like actually I want to go back to it again?
Right. So 2 years into my career, I was starting to put on quite a bit of weight, and I was losing, the fitness and the high performance state that I used to have physically, right? So I give myself a challenge that I want to perform again, and that I can balance both my professional job and this passion, and that would be the highest form of achievement. Yeah. So I signed up for this festival, which was organized at the Esplanade, right? And it was definitely a huge. It was a stretch. It was definitely a stretch because I still had to be productive at work, and doing my responsibilities, and at the same time, in my free time, I will have to get back myself into shape to create the act and then to perform it in about, I guess, 3 months. So I had about 3 months runway to get back into shape and put on a show. Yeah. So sometimes you need this kind of time pressure and external social pressure to keep you focused towards a very clear outcome. Right? That's something that works for me. I always need to have a goal, end state that I'm working towards, a goalpost, right, or the finish line. Then I will be very motivated to work towards that goalpost. Yeah. So that was in the first performance that I did after coming back to Singapore was in 2022. So exactly 2 years after I returned, right? And that was another, peak moment for me because I had done well in my professional job, and then I was able to put on a show at the Esplanade, and I was proud of what I did. Yeah. So for one moment, I'm like, wow.
Another ikigai.
Now I made it. Yeah. And then after, I kind of slided downwards because no more goal, no more performance or show to work towards, right? So I became like a couch potato again.
So it's like kind of seasons depending on whether you get like a gig.
Yeah, it has been for me. I'm sure that for other people maybe it's more consistent or different, but for me it's once I have a goal to work towards, then I will be very motivated. And then when I no longer have that goal or that show to prepare, then I lose the motivation and then I become like, lazier or less motivated.
So how do you actually maintain your physique and also like the techniques? Because I think in between each show is quite a while, right? So the techniques do get rusty after some time if you don't do it.
Sometimes I don't want to go back to to any shows because it is really challenging, I would say, and to keep up with the physical intensity, right? So honestly, actually, I don't. For me, is at this stage in my life is if I can do it, if it works out, then it's fun, it's good, right? It's just bonus, icing on the cake. I don't want to put so much pressure on myself because number one, I don't rely on this for a living anymore, and number two, me having six pack or being so fit does not have any marginal benefit to my career right now. Yeah, so I'm okay to compromise. Yeah, you can't expect to be at the peak performance in all areas of your life at the same time. Yeah, so for me, each quarter or each year, I have a major goal, a primary goal, right? So this year, if I achieve this, then next year I can move on to something else. Yeah. So I don't want to put so much pressure on myself that I have to be in tip-top physical condition all year round, and then also achieve excellence in my career and in my relationship and so on. It'll be too much. Then I will burn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Too many things at once.
Yeah.
But because the demands of your like kind of full-time job is quite demanding, right? Then how do you kind of like balance this like side gig and your full-time job? Because I mean, like when I came here for the first time, then at first I thought I could work full-time and then go dance from like 5 to 9, but then after that I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so tired.
You're so tired after a long day of work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you see, we have a limited willpower each day when we wake up. It's like your phone battery. You start the day at 100%, and then throughout the day, that 100% drop to whatever, right? So willpower is a limited resource. So I believe you have to be very conscious about how you deploy this willpower. Okay? There's no way that there's no humanly sustainable way to pursue three things at the highest level all the time, right? Yeah. So if the career is a priority now for me, then I am willing to make certain compromises in other areas. So to put it into context, I spend less than 10% of my energy on acrobatics in this day and age. I mean, in these days. So my last performance was in November last year when I did it for TEDx. Right, so it's almost 1 year now. I haven't done any shows, and I don't really have a regular training schedule. Right, I may go to the studio once a week, right, to kind of stay to stay in shape but it's not a priority at this point. Yeah, my family and my career is a higher priority. It is so much easier to make a living as an advisor compared to being an artist.
Realistically, right? Yeah.
Like, that was one shocking epiphany to me.